Hello, everybody, and welcome to a monster tier list. Now, this is going to be live on my stream. You see the chat right above my webcam here. Say hi, everybody. Say hi, how you doing? Now that you're properly acquainted with one another, chat, meet YouTube, YouTube, meet chat. There you go. Now that you're properly acquainted, we can get into it. I'm going to try and rank them based off of just whatever I can think of, the damage that they deal, their movement capabilities, how much health they have, how annoying or how fun they are to fight, tons of stuff. Let's start here with the Alloy Vulture. I think that is the proper name. I don't remember. I'm just calling it the Vulture. Vultures deal a metric butt ton of damage, but their projectile is pretty slow, and you don't really see them too often because they really only spawn on Siren's Call. Is that the only place they spawn on? No way, right? There's no shot. They might actually only spawn on Siren's Call. I'm missing a stage. I have to be missing one. Oh, they spawn on Distant Route. No, not Distant Route. What is that stage called? Holy, this is a great start, by the way. What is that stage called, chat? Scorched Acres. See, that's why I'm on stream. That's what I'm doing on stream. Scorched Acres. Yes, they spawn Scorched Acres. Okay. But only 2 stages. They do deal a lot of damage, but they're really slow, and you can easily stun them. Or rather, when you stun them, they come down to the ground, and they're free pickings, essentially. But they do deal a ton of damage. So I'm going to put this as a solid... Starting out strong at a solid B tier enemy.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Woolie Gaming's Risk of Rain 2 Monster Smash or Pass tier list. Quick spoiler, Gup is Giga S tier smash.
Whoa. Alright, moving on. So Vulture B tier. I added F tier, as you can see here, by the way. Okay, these are the new sentry turrets. I actually don't remember what they're called. Someone in chat can tell me. But these are little sentry turrets that spawn mostly on Sky Meadow and the new Sulfur Pools. Sulfur Pools and Sky Meadows. You see these guys a lot. Alpha Constructs. Yeah, they're called Alphas. That's correct. Yeah, the Zai Construct is this guy. Okay, Alpha Constructs. Sentry turrets. They deal a lot of damage. Their projectiles are medium speed, but they're not super hard to take out because they're really, really squishy. And for the most part, they're just down in their little shield form. Their shield reduces a bit of damage. Honestly, it's not too noticeable, but they usually are just chilling in their shield form. They don't really attack you that much. Really, they only are a threat if you have a ton of them. You don't have a lot of AoE. A ton of them start building up for the teleporter fight. That's really the only time these guys are annoying. But they do quite a bit of damage. They can be really scary and Void corrupted, especially if they get corrupted. So
hello YouTube.
We'll see.
Or should I say, hello poo poo tube.
All right, we are also muting alerts. There you go. Pensive Dino, thank you for the $2. Alerts are not muted, so if you don't know or sub or anything, just keep that in mind. You're not going to hear anything. Sorry, YouTube. Your chat's being a little feisty today. They're pretty pumped up. What can I say? I beat 2 Eclipse 8 runs today. They're a little fired up today. Got a little rambunctious there. Okay, so Alpha Constructs. We're going to put this in... Honestly... They're not super interesting to fight, and they're not super scary either. I'll put them in C tier. They're just an average enemy. Straight down the middle. I'll probably put Vultures down here too now. Sorry, we didn't have the F tier before. So Vultures and that, probably about even. Beetles! Beetles are free money. I mean, come on. Have you ever died to a beetle? Unironically? No, right? No one's died to a beetle. Literally ever. S tier enemy. Easy clap. They're just free money. They're not scary. They're cute. They waddle around. They little jump and hop around. Easy S tier enemy. On the contrary, Beetle Guards, straight up D tier enemy. These guys deal way too much damage. Their freaking, what's it called? The Sunder attack goes all the way through the air and curves back down and goes around all the terrain. They're hackers. Honestly, Beetle Guards are hackers. Straight up. Terrible enemy to fight. They deal so much damage. They're so tanky. Beetle Queens turned into the, well, I guess I'll say that for the Beetle Queen. We won't talk about that yet, but Beetle Guards are easily one of my least favorite enemies to fight. Simply because the Sunder attack. Not the melee, not the ground pound, the melee range one, but the Sunder, the ranged, when it travels under the ground. Sunder. Terrible attack. D tier enemy. Bison. I love Bison. Honestly, they give pretty good amount of money. They're really only scary once you get to Eclipse difficulty and they start moving really fast. Other than that, they're super easy to dodge because they have the... Right? Super noticeable broadcast to their attack. They give a lot of money. They're not super tanky. You would think they're way tankier. Golems and Beetle Guards feel way tankier than Bison do for whatever reason. I'm sure they're very close in tankiness. It just feels like these guys are always squishier for some reason. I don't know. Plus, if you're on Rally Point Delta, which these guys only spawn on Rally Point Delta, actually, that's their only stage, you can just go over to the cliff side. If you have a ton of elite Bison following you, go over to the cliff and then they'll just run off the cliff and then they kill themselves and you get all the money. So easy A tier enemy. I'm gonna put them in A because they are way tankier than Beetles. They are still a threat. So yeah, it's pretty good. Also, I just realized that I'm kind of basing this off of how dangerous they are, the tier list. So like Beetles are not dangerous, Bison are these are like average dangerous. I'm going to try and include some more factors here. It's not just about how dangerous they are. But these, like I said, they're not very tanky and they give you quite a bit of money. So that puts them in A tier in my opinion. All right, Blind Pest. This might be a hot take, but I don't find the Blind Pest too annoying. I really don't. When the DLC first came out, I thought they were like terrible to fight. But their projectiles aren't very accurate. So if you keep strafing left and right, it's not a big deal. Or mainly just, it's like brass contraptions, right? You kind of want to go in the same direction. So they're actually not that bad at all. They deal a lot of damage, but the projectile travels pretty slow. And like I said, it's not very accurate in the first place. So Blind Pests aren't that bad, dude. Compared to the other DLC enemies, which we'll get to. In fact, one of them's coming up. I'll put Blind, and they're very squishy. These guys are insanely squishy. They have like almost lesser Wisp levels of HP. They're a little tankier than that. But if you get they're like Jellyfish. I guess Jellyfish is probably a better comparison. But if you get like one gasoline, one ukulele, Blind Pests aren't a problem anymore at all. So I'm going to put Blind Pests, honestly, up in... I'm going to put them in B tier because they are still very dangerous in large packs without AoE. But they are super squishy, don't deal a lot of damage because they're not hitting you very often. But if they do hit you, it can be a problem. So Blind Pests, B tier. Okay, these are the little rats. Vermin. You darn vermin. These guys are like Blind Pests, but on steroids. They're melee Blind Pests, so they swarm you like crazy. They deal tons of damage, and they're super fast. These guys are really slow, by the way. I didn't mention that. Blind Pests are super slow. These like I said, Blind Pests on steroids, but they're melee. That's the if these guys were ranged, these would easily be F tier. If Vermin were ranged, F tier immediately. Like they would be so terrible to fight. But luckily they're melee, so they don't have that issue. However, they do a lot of damage. They always spawn in like groups of 5 or 6. It's kind of crazy. And they do a metric, but I already said damage. They move really fast as well. So they move fast, do a lot of damage, and they spawn in huge groups. So if you don't have AoE, they will be a huge nightmare. Also, if you're on Eclipse difficulty, again, they are easily one of the worst enemies, if not the worst enemy, especially for the early game. These guys will easily end your run. So I'm going to put these guys in D tier. Easy D tier there for the Vermin. Okay, moving on. Brass Contraptions. Over the years that I've been playing Risk of Rain 2, I have actually come to enjoy the Brass Contraptions more and more. I don't know if it's because we're getting more sources of single target damage, so you don't really have a problem with them, like double bands and like ATGs, double bands, now the new needle tick, the bleed, any bit of attack speed that you have. Like Brass Contraptions don't feel that bad. They're not super tanky. They can be scary as an elite enemy, but they're not like super tanky. They do quite a bit of damage, but the strat with Brass Contraptions, if you didn't know, is you kind of just want to keep them right in front of you, and then you just pick clockwise to the left, so facing the Brass Contraption, go to the left, and then just run in a circle. Just run in a circle. They will not hit you. If you run to the left, for some reason, their attacks will just never hit you. Now, it's easier said than done, especially if you don't have a lot of AoE. If they're all grouped up, especially if they're all in different spots, not grouped up. If the Brass Contraptions are on different angles, especially if like one's above you, one's below, one's like on your level, it can be pretty annoying. But for the most part, Brass Contraptions aren't that bad. I'm gonna put them up in B tier. I'm gonna slam them up in B tier with the Blind Pests. Honestly, they're both about the same annoyingness. C tier, I can see a C tier as well. That's a good point. They're not run ending. That's a good point. Like they don't really end your run that often, at least for me anymore. I feel like a lot of that maybe is experience. You know, like I said, been playing Risk of Rain for a very long time, but they're not the run enders that they used to be. So I'm putting them in B tier actually. I think that's fair. Maybe C tier. Okay, next up we have the Clay Templars. So these guys are super immobile, but their ranged attack is extremely scary. And they have a little bit of a knockback as well when you get in melee range. For the most part, Clay Templars aren't a huge deal. They are pretty tanky as well, but you're not typically going to finish them off quickly. You're just going to kind of stun them, run around, kill everything else, stun them, run around, kill everything else until you have a big enough of an opening to finally take them out. Yeah, they're not that bad. They're honestly not that bad to deal with. They can be super scary, especially, I don't want to bring up Eclipse too much because I know the vast majority of people don't play on it, but they can be really scary on Eclipse. But if you get a couple repulsion armors, if you find most of the time you're going to see them on stage 3. Rarely will you see them on stage 2 on the first loop. Maybe we get like one every other like stage 2 abandoned aqueducts. But for the most part, you're seeing them on Scorched Acres. Not a huge deal. You have a couple repulsion armors. They're not too dangerous whatsoever. But they can be dangerous in groups, especially if they're like on opposite sides of you. and they're crossfiring you, that could be really dangerous. I'm putting them in a B tier. They give quite a bit of money. They're not too bad to deal with. These are I actually have no idea what these are called. Chat, can someone help me here? Does anyone know what these guys are called? They're the pot boys, the pot men. Or they might actually be called something with a pot. I don't know. Anyway, these are the new DLC enemy. It's a big walking pot. The Gigapot. I don't think it's called the Gigapot. The Grove Tender. Chat. Clay Apothecary. Okay. Pot friend. No, they're not called pot friend. Chat. They're not called pot friend. So the Clay Apothecary. Interesting. Is not the name I would have chosen for that. I mean, just call him Pot Boy or something. What do these guys even do? Can anyone tell me? Like they just spew tar out of their. It's like a Dune. It's like they have a miniature Dune Shredder attack, and then they like spit tar at you. Oh, they have like a mortar. They have a mortar attack and then like a mini Dune Shredder attack. So it's like a miniature Dune Shredder, but without the super annoying part, which is the big suck attack. They're super slow. They have very little range, and their attacks are very easy to dodge. Like these guys are, but they're not super dangerous either. Or rather, they don't give a lot of money. Sorry. They're not dangerous, but they also don't give a lot of money. And they're pretty tanky. Honestly, I put them C tier. C tier enemy. They're not going to end your run ever, but they're also not going to really help you. They're not going to like give you a butt ton of money. Maybe I need to pay more attention to them. Because as far as I know, they only spawn on... Maybe they spawn on Abandoned Aqueduct, but second loop. But I know for a fact they spawn on Aphelion Sanctuary, which is one of the DLC stages. You don't see them too often. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't really see these guys too often. C tier anyway. I'm just going to put them in C tier. I'm going to trust my gut. C tier. Okay, moving on. Lemurians, the Lim Dogs, the Glizzy Guzzlers, as they're called. Lemurians are extremely dangerous if left unchecked, but thankfully they are really easy to keep in check because they're very squishy. They deal quite a bit of damage, and like I said, they're dangerous in group. They're dangerous. They're dangerous in groups, guys. They're super dangerous in groups because their projectile is really fast. So you get a ton of them around you. They're just gonna. You're not paying attention. Usually you keep these guys for one of the last enemies, or just let your AoE take care of them, like I said. So if you dodge in the boss or a greater wisp or something, you're in the or a stone golem, you can kind of get like hit by an overloading Lemurian or a blazing Lemurian, for example, and you're probably gonna take a metric butt ton of damage. But other than that, they're pretty easy to keep in check. So I'll put them as a solid, and you see them all the time. Like these guys are spawning on like almost every stage. Hello, where'd they go? Solid. B tier. B tier. We're going to put the Lim Dogs in B tier. On the other hand, Elder Lemurians, the grown-up counterpart of the regular Lemurian. Elder Lemurians. Very fast, deal tons of damage, have both a ranged and a melee attack, so you can't get close to them to like kite them around. Lemurians are super dangerous. They do give you quite a bit of money, quite a bit of reward, but Lemurians are almost always an immediate priority kill. You take the Lemurians out Elder Lemurians, sorry. You take out the Elder Lemurians instantaneously. As soon as you see them, they are top priority. You need to kill them or they will kill you. These are hyper dangerous, especially if they get an elite modifier. If you get a blazing or an overloading, oh baby, you need to take them out right away. But they're kind of fun to fight. I'm not gonna lie. Once you learn the patterns, if you stay like medium distance away, their fireball attack comes out in a fan. So you just stand in one of the gaps. They're actually kind of fun to fight. I'm not gonna lie. Assuming you're not playing like engineer with no movement speed, then you can probably define fun a little differently. I'm gonna put these guys, honestly, hot take for some of you, I'm gonna put them top of C tier. I don't put them in B tier because they're a really fun enemy to fight. I personally enjoy fighting Elder Lemurians, and they give you quite a bit of money, but not nearly as much money as our next enemy here, the Gup. Gup, easiest S tier of my life. I mean, Gups are literally just walking money bags. It's like, we can't even put Beetle. We can't even put Beetles in the same tier. We can't do it. We need a Gup tier. Boom. There it is. Boom. Easiest ranking of my life. Gup tier. That's it. And this is not a meme. This is actually not a meme. They are only dangerous, again, if you're playing on Eclipse difficulty. But they're not dangerous. They're straight up not dangerous. You just have 1 or 2 movement speed items. You are staying away from them the whole time. Like, you have to almost AFK to die to a Gup. And otherwise, they are just walking money bags. The amount of cash you get from these. I don't know if you've popped like a combat shrine on stage 3, stage 4. Pop a combat shrine, you get a Gup out of it. You will literally be able to buy the entire stage 2 times over from 1 Gup combat shrine. Let alone, oh my gosh, if you get a Gup family events where every monster on a stage is the same, You get a Gup family event. The air smells of sweet strawberries. You are blazing through the stage. It is going to be the easiest time of your life. No questions asked. Gups, easily the best enemy in the game. Period. End of story. Okay, lesser wisps. We're going to put these back. Okay, little rash there. I mean, I kind of want to, but lesser wisps at the end of the day are not super scary because, again, like one gasoline, one ukulele, will-o-the-wisp, whatever it is. Little bit of AoE. These guys are dead. They can mess you up in the early game, but there are just so many other threats that are actually dangerous because they're tanky and they do a whole bunch of damage. Lesser wisps, you get a couple repulsion armors on top of that. Not a huge deal whatsoever. They're not very fun to fight. They can get super annoying. I'm putting them in D tier. I mean, are lesser wisps as annoying as Beetle Guard? No, C tier, C tier, bottom of C tier. We'll put them in bottom of C tier, but no, they're not annoying as the vermin or the Beetle Guards. No shot, no shot. That's a C tier enemy. We're putting them in C tier for sure. They're just there. C tier. Is this fair? Elder Lemurians? Yeah, because I like fighting them. Okay, I'm about to say Elder Lemurian with the lesser wisp. I don't know about that. Yeah, we'll put them here. I like fighting Elder Lemurians. That's probably not a great reason to rank something because I like it, but I'm putting it here. It's my tier list, gosh darn it. Put it where I want. Okay, moving on. Greater Wisps. Greater Wisps give you tons of money. They also do a lot of damage, but their attacks are very, very noticeable. Super easy to dodge. There's broadcast super well. And they're slow. They're slow as heck. So, and they're huge in the sky. Like, you can easily hit them with whatever you're trying to hit them with. They're super slow. I'm just reiterating myself at this point. We'll just put them into, honestly, B tier. I gotta put them in B tier because I love killing Greater Wisps because you get so much money. They're not that scary. They're only really scary when they're corrupted. When you see a Void Greater Wisp because their base damage is so high. If you even get tickled, if the last millimeter of your pinky toes thumbnail gets tickled by a Greater Wisp shot, the collapse that comes after that when they're corrupted will probably kill you. So for that reason, put them in C tier because if they get corrupted, you're screwed. But honestly, we got to talk about corruption later on. So for now, we'll put them in B tier. Maybe I'll reevaluate this. I love killing Greater Wisps. Okay, Hermit Crabs. Hermit Crabs, they can get super annoying, but for the most part, so long as you keep moving, which is like the number one thing in Risk of Rain 2, stay on the move. Don't stop moving for anything. If you're doing that, Hermit Crabs are a non-issue whatsoever. Hermit Crabs, like, very rarely when you open up a multi-shop, you keep attacking something, you go back to loot the multi-shop, then a Hermit Crab shot will land on you because it shot where you were like 10 seconds ago. You know, as long as you're on the move, these guys are not going to hit you whatsoever. They don't give you a ton of money, and they can get annoying when you're trying to... Honestly, Hermit Crabs are really only annoying when you're done with the stage, right? If you're on Abyssal Depths and you finish the entire stage, now you're just looting a little bit, right, before you leave, and then you have to deal with the constant barrage of Hermit Crabs. That's the it's the only point where they get annoying. I'm gonna put them in C tier. They're okay. They're okay. Not a big deal. They don't give as much money as like some of the big boys, but they're not as annoying. So keep them in C tier. Imps, regular imps. I call them lesser imps. I don't actually know what they're called. I'm calling them regular imps. Imps. Why are you guys saying smash? Hold on. I'm reading chat. Sorry, YouTube. Hold on. Why do you guys say R&D, for example? R&D Thursday. Can you explain what you mean by smash? My good sir. Can you explain? What do you mean by that? Anyway, imps. Regular imps. Again, these really only get annoying when you're on Eclipse difficulty. Regular imps are super slow. It's really easy to get away from them. Yes, they can get dangerous in groups, but they're not super tanky, so AoE will just take them out. AoE is the name of the game with a lot of these lesser enemies. Now, of course, once we get a little further into this tier list, AoE is a different story. But for regular imps, not a huge deal whatsoever. Yeah, they're not that bad. The blink can get annoying when you're trying to hit them with an ability, or you're playing Railgunner, for example. You try and shoot them real quick, and they blink out of your shot. That can get a little frustrating. But they give a decent amount of money. They're not super tanky. They don't deal a ton of damage. Their bleed is really the scary part. So once you get a couple repulsions, not a huge deal. I'm gonna put these guys also in C tier, maybe even B tier. I gotta be honest, I kind of like seeing imps. I know that if I have a teleporter of a bunch of lesser imps around, I'm good, right? I'm putting them in B tier, straight up. Just slam them in there. Why not? Jellyfish. Okay, Jellyfish, I think have to go in C tier. So I want to put them higher because they're so easy to kill, and it's kind of satisfying, you know, seeing them blow up. But if they blow up without you damaging them, you don't get money, and they're really fast, and they can easily sneak up behind you and blow up and then push you off of a ledge, for example. That's like the most annoying thing in the world. But is it the end of the world? Not really. Do they deserve to be in A tier? Heck no. Do they deserve to be in B tier with these guys? Also, probably not. D tier? Nah, they're not annoying as these guys. I'm putting them C tier. I think that's good. Right? I think that's fair, right, chat? C tier for the Jellyfish. Simple as that. They're very self-explanatory. They're not super fast. They deal quite a bit of damage, but most of the time, I think it's proximity based actually. So if you're a decent distance, like as long as you see the Jellyfish coming up, or if you hear the explosion start to charge up and you make some distance, you're not going to take that much damage. I think C tier is fair. Okay. I don't even have to say anything. I don't even have to say anything. Enough said. Self-explanatory. Boom. That's it. That's it. Boom. We're done. That's it. This is a larva, new DLC enemy. I think that's as simple as that, right? I think everybody in chat agrees on this one, correct? Every single person. And YouTube, I'm using chat as a proxy. You know, I'm trying. Essentially, chat is you, YouTube. You think about it. Chat is just you guys, but on Twitch. You guys are on Twitch right now. Twitch.tv/Woolie Gaming, by the way. Everybody agrees. Larva, trash tier, right? 100%. Trash tier enemy. They deal way too much damage. They have heat-seeking capabilities for whatever reason. They defy physics. When they go up in the air, they can just track you perfectly. They're just insane. Absolutely insane. Terrible enemy to fight. Not fun. Give you no reward. Deal way too much damage. And they spawn in like groups of 20. No. Hard F tier on that one. If I could have like a F plus or an F minus tier, put them there. I mean, I could have that, but F tier for sure. Okay, Lunar Chimeras. I believe these are all called Chimeras. I don't think there's a difference in their name. So the roly-polies, ground guys, flying guys. Flying wisp, ground wisp, roly-poly guy. Okay, roly-polies, I mean, they're not terrible. They're pretty annoying to fight, but they're not terrible, right? They don't give you, I mean, money at this point is irrelevant. For these three, money is not a factor. It's mainly just how dangerous they are. And these guys, honestly, them shooting them in the butt is way more dangerous than these guys. But it depends on which pillars you're charging and if you're charging in the first place. If you're playing it right, you should probably be avoiding pillars with Milky Chrysalis, Eccentric Vase, Volcanic Egg, or you're just playing a survivor with a lot of mobility like Loader, Railgunner, etc. So for the most part, you just go to the Cauldrons and you get up to Mythics, right? So you don't really... And in the Mythics fight, these guys are easily the least scary part. Assuming you didn't scrap all of your AoE like I did today. Which was quite the fight. This will be on YouTube, by the way. That fight, YouTube, you can check it out after this video. Holy crap. Sorry. My point is, they're pretty easy to deal with, and they're not super scary. It's really only an issue because they leave down that fire AoE when you kill them. If you're charging pillars, like the one that gets smaller over time, or two that gets smaller over time, that can be super frustrating. But for the most part, not a huge deal. I'll put them in C tier. These are Lunar Chimeras again. The ranged slash... I don't know if I want to call them melee. The ground base. We'll call them the ground base versus the airborne. Use the ground base ones because they're both ranged. These ones, honestly, are way scarier than the flying ones. Except when you're outside of Mythics. I guess I should have said the opposite. So flying ones are way more dangerous outside of Mythics. Ground ones are way more dangerous inside. Because you typically don't see the for whatever reason, the director does not spawn these guys during the Mythics fight, aside from the middle phase where you get tons of all three of them, right? But you really don't see these guys randomly spawn. I think you have to be pretty late into a run to get these guys randomly during the Mythics fight. On the final phase, or the second to last phase of Mythics, where he has the pillar come out when he slams and the shockwave. You'll mainly be seeing these guys, and they're they're very tanky actually, and they deal a whole bunch of damage. These can easily end your run when you're fighting Mythics. If they shoot you in the butt, I would say back and butt. So I said blah, blah. If they shoot you in the back and they propel you towards Mythics, or if they just mess up your momentum plans, these guys can get you killed. And they deal a lot of damage by themselves. So if they don't mess you up and Mythics kills you, you might just die to them. They do a lot of damage and they're super tanky. Honestly, D tier. D tier enemies. And they're still pretty scary outside of Mythics too. For sure. Like these guys are still like, you get, especially perfected. If they're perfected, oh baby. Both of these guys are insanely scary as perfected elites, but we'll get to that. I can talk more about it in this guy. So let's just get to it. All right. So the Airborne Lunar Chimera. Again, on Mythics fight, they're pretty much irrelevant. These guys are the easiest to kill during the ad phase of Mythics, we'll call it. The middle phase. But before you get to Mythics, especially if these guys are perfected, oh my gosh, these are insanely annoying. Because they're pretty fast. They can track you across the map very easily, depending on your movement speed, of course. But mostly when you're trying to print cauldrons, honestly, these guys are really annoying for that too. Both of these guys are equal. We'll put them both in D tier. They're both equally annoying. These guys are a little bit less of a threat during the Mythics fight. Like I said, you're rarely going to see them, if at all. During the actual like final phase, the second to last phase of Mythics, you can get these guys randomly and these guys randomly, but not these guys. Well, you can, but you're not going to. Sorry, I know I'm reiterating myself many times here. My apologies. I think they're both about equal though in terms of their annoyingness. Like I said, the reward doesn't matter because you're on the final stage when you see these guys, unless you get super unlucky. And by unlucky, you get the Lunar Chimera event. There is a family event. It can only spawn on Sky Meadow. So you cannot get these guys as a family event on any other stage aside from the final or the final regular stage, not the moon, but the Sky Meadow. You can get a family event of chimeras. But that's like so rare. It's so astronomically rare that it's not even worth mentioning. Well, aside from you can't get it. Just keep that in mind. But I said they're about equal in terms of annoyingness. All right, last. Nope, we have a few more regulars. Sorry, I thought that was the last one. Not even close, actually. We have to go all the way over here. Okay, mushrooms. Mini mushrooms, if they weren't so gosh darn tanky, they'd be fine. Honestly. That's all I got to say. If these guys weren't so tanky, they would be not an issue whatsoever. It's kind of like Hermit Crabs, right? So I'm actually going to put them in... We'll put them in C tier as well. The healing can get really annoying if you're playing a Survivor. You don't have a lot of damage. Or I guess the Survivor choice doesn't really matter. If you haven't got a lot of damage items in your run, because you're only going to see these guys on Sundered Grove or Sky Meadow, Stage 4, Stage 5, so pretty late into your run. Chances are you'll be able to deal with them pretty easily. They're not a huge threat whatsoever. Their AoE is nothing even close to like what the larvas can do or what these guys can do. The damage of their little AoE. You're never going to get direct impacted. If you get direct impacted by one of the mushrooms attacks, you got super unlucky. Yeah, they're not bad. They don't give you a ton of money, but they're also not super annoying to fight, and they're not very dangerous. So mini mushrooms are solid C tier enemy. Parents, honestly, we got to slap parents up in A tier, dude. Parents are a non-issue whatsoever. The only time parents are scary is when they're blazing elites and they just teleport on top of you, right? That's it. That's the only time parents are scary. Other than that, they're going to miss their attack 99% of the time. As long as you just are on the move constantly, you just walk behind them. Easy peasy, you're good to go. They give you quite a bit of money. They're not super tanky. They got heavily nerfed. If we were talking about pre-nerf parents, which that was so long ago now, I can't even remember. But pre-nerf parents were super scary. These guys, on the other hand, the new parents, they should be called children. Am I right? Sorry, that wasn't very funny. But they're not scary whatsoever. Hey, that changes your smash or pass, doesn't it, a little bit, chat? Yeah, FBI. Might want to take a look at some of the people here. Anyway, yeah, A tier enemy. They're not scary. Give you quite a bit of reward. Solid A tier. Okay, moving on. These are the Solus Probes. Solus Probe units, I think what they're called. If I remember the entire name here. Honestly, you don't see them very often. They only spawn from the big boys, which are over here somewhere. These guys, so that's the alloy. No, this is the alloy. Yeah, these guys right here. The Solus Control, Solus Probes. The probes can get super annoying, but again, you have a little... It's like the name of the game with every lesser enemy in this game. A little bit of AoE, a little bit of movement speed, a little bit of repulsion armor. Like, you're fine. And by a little bit, I mean one. One repulsion, one gasoline, one ukulele, like one goat hoof, one energy drink, one wax quail. Like, you can get out of these attacks so easy. These are not an issue. They don't give you any reward, though. Or they hardly give you reward. I'll put them in, I guess, C tier. Like, overall, they're kind of annoying, especially if you don't kill... Because typically, you don't focus these down. So if you don't have that little bit of AoE, you're not going to die to them, but they're just going to be so annoying. They're going to occasionally, like, rotate their beam into you. You're going to take a little bit of damage. Multiply that by 4 or 5 of these probes. They can be annoying. I'll put them in C tier. Honestly, not too bad. We're kind of overpopulating C tier here. Maybe this is fair. Again, I'll reassess the list at the end here. Okay, next up, Stone Golems. So, Golems are tanky. Golems do a lot of damage, but their attack is like the most broadcast attack in the entire game. Except, for whatever reason, when you get behind terrain, right? For some reason, if you're in a pack of Golems or something, you get behind terrain, I don't know about you, but I instantly, like, my mental timer for when that attack was going to go off just dissipates. I don't know if I have, like, the object permanence of a baby or something. I don't know if that is even relevant, but that's what it feels like, at least. As soon as I get behind terrain, I just forget about the Golem, and then I pop up, I, like, jump, and then the one frame of my head pops out of the terrain, I get smacked by the Golem. But for the most part, they're not that bad. They're kind of tanky. They do quite a bit of damage, but they're very slow. And they give quite a bit of reward as well. Like the amount of money they give you is pretty dang good. I think we're going to go in C tier yet again. Are they as annoying as all these? Heck no. Heck no. Not even close. C tier. Solid C tier golem. I think that's fair. Malachite Urchin. I mean, what is this? F tier. I don't know. What does it do? It just like shoots little things that don't never hit you. It applies the debuff to you, but for like 2 seconds because it's such a low proc coefficient. I don't think they give you money either. F tier. What are these enemies? Garbage. F tier. The planet. F tier. That would be like fall damage, pots. Well, you can't die to fall damage unless you're on Eclipse, but fall damage on Eclipse, pots, the explodey barrels on Rally Point Delta. Oh, the out of bounds. Holy crap, that's another one. The out of bounds on Abandoned Aqueduct. Oh, that thing's annoying. Plenty of times I've died to that. So put planet in F tier for sure. All right. So here we are with some DLC enemies. We'll start with this one. So the Void enemies here. Void Reaver. Void Reaver. Whoa, where'd you go? Okay, over here. Void Reaver is not very annoying whatsoever. And actually, Void Reavers can help you out. Oh, okay. Well, we're putting this A tier. I already know. Easy decision, A tier. Reason being, if you kill a Void Reaver, they'll kill everything around them. So you can kite bosses. You can kite all the scary stuff around the Void Reaver. Take out the Void Reaver. They're not super tanky. There you go. You just solved all your problems. Easy. They're on your team, essentially. That's what it is. They're essentially on your... Like, Gups are 100% on your team. So are Void Reavers. They're on your team, bro. The Gups give you tons of money. Void Reavers just kill everything for you. Boom. I don't think they're Gup tier, though. Nah, I can't put them in Gup tier. A tier. Okay. Void Infester. No, these are the Infestors. What are these guys called? Barnacles. Void Barnacles. These are the DLC guys that clamp to walls and just pew, 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 pew. They're not super annoying. They can be. I don't think they give you a ton of reward either. Usually, the only time you encounter these is during Void Seeds because you just save them for last. You just kill everything else around you. You kill all the Void Infestors. Then you take out the Barnacles at the very end here. I'm going to have to say Void Barnacles. C tier. Okay, I just realized. I'm kind of using C tier as the enemies that are not super annoying. And they also don't give you tons of reward. So, they give you more reward. They're up here. And they're not super annoying. They're up here. If they give you... a lot of reward, or if they're super annoying, or they deal a ton of damage, whatever, they're down here. So that's kind of what I'm basing this off. It's more based on the annoying, how annoying they are to fight. And by annoying, I mean, are they super tanky, but they don't give you a ton of reward? Then they're probably really annoying, right? Which is why they're down here. I guess that's kind of what I'm basing this list off. And these guys are just, you know, self-explanatory. Anyway, that was a huge tangent. I'm sorry. Void Barnacles, C tier. I think that's fair. Void Jailers. These guys were very scary when they first came out, but honestly, again, you don't really see them that much. If you're going to the Voidling fight for whatever reason all the time. If you're going to the Voidling fight without doing it from Mithrix, because the Mithrix Froggy at the end of the Mithrix fight, if you kill Mithrix, you go take the teleporter to the Voidling, you pet Froggy, you don't even see these guys because you go straight to the Voidling itself, the final boss. So if you're going to the regular Void stage for whatever reason, so you're taking a portal from the Void Fields, or if you're taking it from the Blue Portal, that's the same place. Wait, what's the other? How do you do the final stage? Blue Portal. So Void Fields. Oh, random. It's a random spawn. Sorry. Second loop random spawn. Regardless, you're not going to see the Void Jailers too much here. I actually don't know how much money they give you because I fought them that few times on a regular stage, like Sky Meadow. Or something. I don't know. They're not super bad. They can get very annoying because they kind of suck you in and then they root you and then you're kind of just dead at that point. But they're not that bad. Chat, what do you think? I'm gonna let chat decide this one. Chat, what would you say the Void Jailer is overall? I'm honestly torn between C and D. Yeah, I'm thinking C or D. F tier, R&D, do you want to talk about it? Do you need to talk about what the Void Jailer did to you, R&D? Okay, honestly, I'm kind of thinking of putting him in F tier too, because the very first run of the DLC, I was at the final stage, the Void stage, and I died literally full HP. I died, or I guess I was like right under one shot protection. Died in one shot to these guys. Put him in D tier. D tier, boom! Boom! The majority of chat saying D tier. Let's just do it. Okay, Void Infestors, F tier. Giga F tier. Void Infestor tier. In fact, we're gonna... What is this? Hello? Infester. Put it like gray, super gray. No, I renamed. Am I dumb? Am I dumb? Hold on. Hold on, chat. All right, add a row below. Here we go. Here we go. I think. No, okay. No, we're not gonna do that. Hold on. Sorry. F tier. F tier for sure. Like these guys are the bottom of F tier. 100%. Bottom of F tier. Enough said. They're so small, so hard to hit, especially if you're playing like Railgunner. If you tried using Railgunner's Priority to take these guys out, oh my gosh, it's the worst experience in the world. But they're super dangerous as well. When you okay, so what happens when an enemy gets corrupted is every attack that they land on you will apply a stack of Collapse. Collapse deals 400% base damage. I'll explain why that's important in a second. Per stack. And it explodes after 3 seconds. It's not like bleed. By the way, this is what Needle Tick, the Void Tri-Tip corruption does. Collapse. 400% base damage per stack. Explodes after 3 seconds. Doesn't refresh per stack. So when you apply the first stack, after 3 seconds, it's a ticking time bomb. It'll explode after 3. Regardless of the stacks. Okay. The reason why this sucks on enemies is because base damage means that the hit itself doesn't matter. For an enemy, that's a huge deal because, like I said, we were talking about Greater Wisps. When a Greater Wisp is corrupted by the Void Infester, guess what? If the Greater Wisp hits you at the very, 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 very outer edge, the last pixel of the attack hits you. For all intents and purposes, you dodged it because you take like 3 damage, right? The very outer edge of the Greater Wisp attack hits you, you take like 3 damage, and then you die. Why? Because the Collapse deals 400% damage, base damage of the monster. So every monster in this game has a different base damage stat, just like players do, and they level up just like players do. So as they level up, they get more and more base damage. So you take like two damage from a random attack, all of a sudden you're dead because the Collapse hits you. And when I say you're dead, I mean, you're not gonna like literally die to most of these off the first hit at least. But if you hit it twice, you're definitely dead. And if, like I said, one hit, you're getting chunked drastically. Like you're taking so much damage from an otherwise dodge, right? You essentially dodge the attack. Now, this doesn't happen all the time. It's not the end-all, be-all, but that is like the most dangerous aspect of these. They corrupt an enemy. You get tickled by the enemy. All of a sudden, you just took like 90% of your HP. Now you're freaking out. You're trying to dodge everything. You make a mistake, you're dead. So Void Infester. And they're really small. They're really annoying. Now, luckily, they were changed a little bit on the most recent patch. The first patch after the DLC went live to decay. Their HP decays over time, so they're way more manageable. But, oh my gosh, these guys are still super terrible. All right, that was a lot of time on the Infestors. That was also the last regular enemy, the lesser enemy, I'll call it. Now we're going to start here with the boss enemies. Our final classic lesser enemy was the Void Infester. First off, Beetle Queens, D tier. Easy clap, because Beetle Queens are so annoying. They used to spawn regular, cute little beetles, the little guys, little cute little beetles. They don't really do anything. They just kind of waddle around. You know, I'm a beetle. Now, what do they spawn? Freaking Beetle Guards. Wow, sick. So, pretty tanky enemy. Now, they're really large and they're really easy to hit because they're, you know, spread out. You know, they're a horizontal enemy. That is not a good descriptor. I'm sorry. But you know what I mean, chat. It's a large enemy. They're very easy to hit. If you need to hit a Beetle Queen, you can hit a Beetle Queen. They're always available. Don't take that the wrong way. But, yeah, they spawn Beetle Guards. If you have no AoE, again, I had this happen today on stream. If you have no AoE, you will just get overwhelmed and die because the Beetle Guards are so freaking annoying. And on top of that, they're what do I call this attack? The Beetlejuice. Where not when they patooey at you, but the wasp. It looks like a wasp. Is it a larva? I think it's actually called a larva if you ping it. The beetle, the little guy that spawns and has the bubble around him. That's what I'm trying to talk about. The bubble guy, the bug. The Beetlejuice, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. You guys know what I'm talking about. That gets kind of annoying. It's not a huge deal because you can just run out of it in 2 seconds, you know. But Beetle Queens definitely do not deserve anything higher than a D tier. In fact, we'll do that. Beetle Guards bottom of D tier. Screw the Beetle Guards. Beetle Queens are like okay themselves, but they spawn Beetle Guards, therefore they're in D tier. That's simple. Clay Dune Striders. Dune Striders can get very, 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 very annoying. Again, I had this happen on stream. Maybe I'm just projecting my run today on stream to you. But Dune Striders get very annoying in groups, even just 2. A pair of Dune Striders can get super annoying if you don't time their stand up properly. If you did not know, I'm about to save a new player's life here. If you did not know, when you're fighting a clay Dune Strider, when they stand up, they cannot go into their ground big suck form. I call it the big suck. When they go to the ground and they start, you know, leeching off of everything around them, they cannot go into that form while they are standing up in the air. So the idea with the Dune Striders is you damage them, you get them to about 30% HP, 25% HP, wait for them to stand up, and then you do your very best to burst them down and finalize the kill before they do the big suck. I think they do it at 20%. That sounds like I don't even know. It just visually looking at the HP bar, it's about a fifth. I don't think it's 25. I think 25 is too much. So they do it at 20%. That seems right. And you can typically blow through 20% of a Dune Strider's HP bar with not a big not a big threat, or not. It's not very difficult, especially if you have a Somerang, a Praeon, a Capacitor, something that does a lot of burst damage. You're fine. Again, the issue is when you have more than one Dune Strider, which you can get that as early as stage 3. If you take a lot of time on the teleporter, you can get double boss on stage 3. Actually, I've been having that happen more often now because I'm taking my time with Eclipse. And again, if you have more than one and you miss time that attack, like I talked about, if they're standing up, if you miss time that, or you don't have enough damage and they come back down to the big suck, you just wasted a ton of time. So they can be very annoying. Honestly, we're putting Dune Strider in D tier. I gotta put in D tier. I think Beetle Queen is actually less annoying. You know, I wasn't too harsh on my explanation of Dune Strider, but they're pretty annoying to fight. I'm not gonna lie. So I think D tier is probably warranted. Like Beetle Queens are not as bad as Dune Striders. I think that's fair. Okay, these are the grandparents. You can see the big Cheerio head right here. Grandparents, my gosh, dude, these things are nuts. These things are actually nuts. If you're not playing a survivor with range, good freaking luck. Grandparents, the burn damage is just insane. Insane. When they do the big spirit bomb, when they're charging up the attack in the air like that, holy crap, that thing does so much damage. I feel like, I'm pretty sure it's line of sight based to the air. So they put a big sphere up in the air, and then where it's like the Eye of Sauron. If they can see you, you're gonna take damage. Honestly, dude, stop laughing, chat. Stop. I know what you guys are saying. Stop. YouTube, don't look at chat. Okay, ignore chat above me right now. Just ignore them. Yeah, grandparents, we're gonna put them in D tier, bro. They're not as annoying as Dune. Honestly, yes they are. Yes they are. We're putting them down here. They're not as annoying as Beetle Guards. Grandparents, right there. Boom. End of story. They're so annoying. And they're pretty tanky as well. But luckily, they're not scary aside from that big attack. So if you're not paying attention, if you're playing, for example, an infinite range character inside of melee range, you might have an issue with grandparents. So keep that in mind. Grove Tenders. Grove Tenders honestly aren't bad at all. I'm putting B tier. Solid boss. Solid boss. They're fun to play against because they're pretty easy to predict what their attacks are going to do. You can just stand behind a wall, and the little lesser wisps that come streaming out of them, they'll just hit the wall and blow up. Not a big deal. Their chain attack is like never going to hit you so long as you're strafing either direction. You're fine. So Grove Tender's not a terrible enemy. And they're ooh, we should talk about boss items. Holy, am I dumb? We need to talk about boss items, bro. Holy crap. Okay. Reevaluate. Let's reevaluate. Yeah, Grove Tender B tier. That's for sure. Little Disciples, a solid boss item. The enemy itself, not a difficult enemy. Boom. End of story. Beetle Queen, terrible boss item. Tier. That's warranted. D tier. Dune Strider, really good boss item, but my gosh, that fight sucks. I think that's also warranted. Maybe C tier. Did we put Dune Strider in C tier because of Mired Urn? I mean, you're gonna fight Dune Strider's World Spawn too. By World Spawn, I mean not the teleporter fight, so you don't even get the chance of getting a Mired Urn unless you get the pew pew ahoy, the tricorn. I think D tier. I think it's not worth. It's not worth. All right, so D tier as well. Mired Urn, Grandparent, Planula, dude. All right, F tier, F tier, F tier, F tier, F tier, F tier. These guys are F tier, 100%. Larva are also like right here. All right, F tier. Grandparents are F tier. Planula sucks. That was the most wrong I have ever been on ranking an item for my tier list. Planula. Planula is like garbage tier. It's so bad. It's so freaking bad. It only helps you with damage over times, and a common item does what it does, but better. Like, no, Planula sucks. Planula's terrible. Terrible boss item. Terrible boss. F tier boss. 100%. Period. End of story. Imp Overlord. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Have you seen the succulent clap of the Imp Overlord's cheeks as he comes running over to you? He slams the ground. He misses you by a mile. You kill him, and then a shatter spleen pops out of the teleporter. Easy A tier. Easy. 100%. A tier, good to go, period. End of story. That's all we need to talk about. Super easy to dodge their attack. Slam is irrelevant. The bleed is fine unless you have no movement speed whatsoever, but you can still kind of dodge it at that point. Easy, easy, easy. And they all group up. That's the best part about the Imp Overlords. Sorry, I'm getting a little too wound up here. The best part about the Imp Overlords is they all teleport to where you are. So if you pop 10 mountain shrines and you have a billion Imp Overlords, so long as you have one ukulele, you're good. Because guess what? They're all going to clamp up right on top of you. So you just move away, right? Don't let them hit you. Don't let the teleport actually hit you. What are you doing? But as soon as they do that, you have a little bit of AoE. Just they're dead. They're dead. And they give you Shatter Spleen, which is the best boss item in the game. Aside from Charge it's between Charge Perforator and Shatter Spleen. Different reasons. Shatter Spleen is really good because AoE and single target built in. Some survivors aren't going to make use of the single target very much. If you're not attacking a lot, Loader, Acrid, Artificer, Mercenary, etc. You're not going to get a ton of use out of the single target, but the AoE is good on absolutely everybody, and you only need one stack of bleed on something. They blow up, they do a ton of damage, they wipe out everything. Shatter Spleen's an amazing item. A tier for sure. Magworm, also A tier. And you what? Well, whoa! Oh, shoot. Oh, it's saved. It's saved. Oh, it's saved, dude. Holy crap. That would have been terrible. I accidentally hit my bat key. That would have been bad. We're good. Sorry. Overloading Worm, also A tier. How did it save? That's actually crazy, bro. That is so crazy. Maybe I just opened the new tab. No, I definitely went back. Anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm getting distracted. This video's already way too long. I'm sorry, YouTube. Not really. All right, here we go. The worms. Regular worm, overloading worm. Both of them are insanely easy to fight. They're always just chilling, basically. They're not a huge threat, but they also don't give you a ton of reward. I mean, don't they give you quite a bit of reward? Honestly, worms are like my favorite to see on a map. I know I can take a sigh of relief because the director chose to spend its credits on a worm instead of something actually dangerous. Also, their boss items are crazy freaking good. Molten Perforator is very good by itself. It's not amazing on Mithrix, which is, typically what you're basing your run off of. You're going to Mithrix. It's not amazing on Mithrix because he's so fast and it comes out in a little fountain, so it's hard to hit him. Charge Perforator, on the other hand, this thing's nutty. Absolutely nutty. Charge Perforator, and like I said, it's between that and the Shatter Spleen for the best boss item. Either way, I think all these monsters in A tier. Easy clap. Easy clap. Okay, Scavengers. We'll start with regular Scavengers. Regular Scabs are also A tier. I mean, it's hard to put them anywhere else because you get an entire stage worth of loot from killing one enemy. It's like, what? It's like, huh? Scavengers are easy A tier though, 100%. They can be very dangerous, but so long as you look at the Scavenger and you notice that it has a missile launcher, or what else is like a scary Scav? Capacitor. I guess if you don't have a lot of movement speed, Capacitor can be pretty scary. But for the most part, not bad. I think A tier, and they're thick, as R&D pointed out, and they are thick. That is true. Twisted Scavs, on the other hand, I cannot tell you the last time I went to a Twisted Scavenger. These guys are from the Beads of Fealty, the beads, the special looking beads that you get from the blue portal. I'm sorry, Twitch chat has tainted my mind, YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to see this side of me, YouTube. I truly am. Anyway, Twisted Scavengers, I can't even tell you the last time I went to them. Yeah, you get more lunar coins from them, but you also have to spend the lunar coins on the Beads of Fealty, so it's like, is that a big deal? No. Plus, there's a thing, there's a way to acquire lunar coins aside from killing Scavengers or killing anything or doing anything. It's literally no effort. Yeah, I mean, B tier. Put them in B tier. I think that's a fair rank. I think we're putting them in B tier, right? Like, they're fun to fight. The Twisted Scavs are all, I want to say pre-built. I can't think of a better word in my mind. Predetermined. They spawn with the same loadout each time. The Twisted Scavs. I think there's 4 or 5 Twisted Scavs. I think 4 only. So, it's whatever. Too much thinking on that one. B tier. Done. Okay, this is the Solus control unit, which is the the secret boss. This is the secret boss. We'll talk about him after. Solus control units, very easy to fight. They're not a threat. They do like no damage even if they hit you with their barrage. Their attack that kind of like comes out. It's like an Elder Lemurian fire breath of that attack. Not a huge deal. The ground pound is super easy to dodge. They only put one of them down, and they don't get shields when they ground pound. And the probes aren't even that annoying in the first place. So honestly, but their boss item's kind of trash. And by kind of trash, I mean trash. So we'll put Solus control unit in C tier. C tier boss. It's not a big deal. They don't do a lot of damage. They'll give you a ton of reward. They're not very dangerous, so put them there. Okay. Alloy Worship Unit. You get a guaranteed red off of killing this guy per player, by the way. Per player, guaranteed legendary on Siren's Call is the stage. This is where the boss that spawns after you destroy the secret bird's nests that are scattered across the stage. Alloy's not that bad. Over time, I've gotten way more used to the attacks. It's like, it's not a big deal. I can't think of the last time I was truly like scared of the alloy fight. You know? You get a guaranteed legendary, like I said, but is it better than just buying the chest outright? Especially on the DLC, I'd say no. Like, for some reason, it just feels like you get way more money playing the DLC than the base game per stage. So you typically get enough money for the legendary chest on Abyssal Depths or Sundered Grove way quicker than killing the alloy. Unless you have a, you know, if you're playing mercenary or loader or somebody, you can cheese the alloy or Rex. But the amount of time it takes to kill him, it's probably not. It's not worth it. I'm gonna put. Ooh, it's gonna be tough. I had to put him B tier. I have to put him in B tier because he gives you a guaranteed legendary, right? And the fight's not too difficult whatsoever. Even with the Eclipse modifiers, when he has shield super often, like almost every attack, it's insane how much he gets shield. It gets annoying, but it's not the end of the world. Alloy's not been a threat for a very long time. I'll put him in B tier. I think that's fair. Okay, Stone Titans. Stone Titans. These guys only get annoying when there are too many left on the stage, or if they're all the way across the map from you, right? And they're just pillaring you constantly. Just you're trying to dodge them like they're landmines. That can get very annoying. But for the most part, Titans aren't super dangerous. Their homing beam, tracking beam, whatever you want to call it, doesn't do a ton of damage. You get a couple repulsions for the early game. You're set. Even when they're elite modifier, just stand behind the wall. It's so easy to tell when they're about to laser beam you. Just stand behind a wall, wait for it to happen. Sometimes there are too many enemies around, so you can't really do that. Especially if there are two Titans. If there are two Titans at the teleporter event, one's lasering you, one's pillaring you. So typically you want to like just stand behind one piece of terrain, wait for the beam to be done, but that pillar comes underneath you. Oh shoot, now you gotta move. That can be pretty annoying. I think Titan C tier. I think Titan C tier. No, I gotta put them B tier. I gotta put Titans B tier because they're free. If you get stage 1, stage 2 Stone Titan, it's a free teleporter fight. You just stand right next to it. He'll never beam you. You'll always dodge the pillar. It's such a free fight. The boss item's really not very good, but I like the Neural personally in the early game. The extra HP doesn't feel terrible, and the regen, more importantly, feels pretty dang good. It's like a cautious slug and a bison steak. Actually, it's pretty bad. I mean, I can't really. It just feels okay, right? To get a stage 1 Neural, you're like, okay, could have been worse. Could have been a stage 1 Death Marks. Could have been a stage 1 Chronobobble. Could have been a stage 1 Polyp or something. I'll put him in C tier. Upper C tier. I think upper C tier is a fair spot. Upper C tier. Okay, Void Crab. This guy should have been with... I guess he counts as a boss, actually. Yeah, this is a boss. Okay. Void Crab. I think this guy is called the Void Devastator. The Void Devastator. Crabs aren't that bad whatsoever. They're pretty tanky. They look really freaking cool, though. And their on-death explosion is just like a Void Reaver, but way bigger, if I remember correctly. So, it's not that bad, right? Right? I think we got to put crabs in, like... The boss item is pretty... I'm putting them in C tier. I'm going to put them right next to the Titan. They're buddies. Titan and the Void Crabs, those guys go back. Okay? They were in high school. Yeah, I think that's fair. Big boy... You're not going to see these guys. Like, I can't remember the last time I saw a crab. You have to be, like, looping, and you get a Void Seed on your stage, then you'll probably see a crab. Other than that, you don't really see them. C tier. I think that's fair. Okay. Wandering Vagrants, bro. Oh. Okay, they're not as annoying as Beetle Guards for me personally. F tier? Yeah, they're not hard to fight. That's someone would say cakewalk. They're not difficult to fight. They're just so freaking annoying. Like, when a Wandering Vagrant is alive, it demands your attention. That's the best way to describe it. Every single attack from a Vagrant is dangerous. It's gonna do a whole bunch of damage to you. It's just so annoying. And when they get low HP, you have to deal with the explosion. It's not like a Dune Shredder where you can just walk out of the suck or just not be near it and you're fine, right? Vagrants demand your attention. I mean, if you have a lot of movement speed, you can't get away from a Vagrant easy. Like, you can literally just outrange the explosion. You don't have to be behind terrain. You don't have to line of sight it. But nah, Vagrants are so annoying. I think D tier is fair. Is Grandparent F tier warranted, chat? I'm thinking. Like, is a Grandparent more annoying than a Vagrant? I think they're equal. I think they're equal. But is a Grandparent as annoying as a Beetle Queen? Not really. And the Vagrant Winner sucks. Do we swap? Do we swap? I think we might. This seems about right. This seems about right. Yeah, we're swapping. We're swapping. We're swapping, bro. Vagrant F tier. I said it. Vagrant Wiener, terrible item. Sure, you can make use of it, just like any other item in the game. Terrible boss item. Now we're going. It can save. Okay, it's like a daisy, but it actually does something. That's the best way. It can save your life. Yeah, you know what? There have been quite a few times where I get a clutch Vagrant Wiener. I'm not gonna lie. But if you think about it, would I have needed the Vagrant proc if I had an actual item from the teleporter? Think about it. Gee, this is tough. All right, we'll put it like this. We'll keep it there. Boom. D tier. D tier. F tier is a little too harsh. I'll take that back. I'll walk that one back. Okay. What are these guys called? Zai Constructs. Dude, these guys are like free. These guys are free money. B tier. B tier. They're not dangerous. They spawn, as you see here, the 4 little corners of the Zai Construct. 1, 2, 3, 4. It spawns little turrets that you can proc chain off of. So Will-o'-the-Wisp, Voidsent Flame, Ukulele, Gasoline, etc. They're actually really easy to kill because of that. They can get annoying with their big laser beam attack, but other than that, they give you a decent amount of money. They're like these guys. So maybe put them in C tier. I think that's more fair. Yeah, B tier is not too high. C tier. C tier. Right? They're not annoying. They're just there. They're just kind of there. Zai Constructs, not a huge deal whatsoever. I think that's fair, right? Zai Constructs are hell? I don't think so. Blind Pest S tier. Okay, someone ban that guy immediately. Okay, last 3 enemies. Let's do this. Aurelia Knight. Guardian of the Golden Coast. There we go. The Golden Coast. The Gilded Coast. The Golden Coast is in real life. The Gilded Coast. He's trash. When you get this boss item, you may as well. Like, I know time doesn't pass in the Gilded Coast, but the 4 items that you get guaranteed from those chests are way better than the Aurelia Knight is. It's like not even comparable. But he's not F tier. Put him in C tier. Aurelia Knight's fine. The fight's fine. I was just doing that. I was just getting a rise out of your chat. Okay, I was just, pulling your finger. Not pulling your finger. That's not the right context whatsoever. Okay, anyway. Aurelia Knight's not a bad fight. It's a Stone Titan. That's all. He's just a bigger Stone Titan. More tanky, more damage. That's it. Just a Stone Titan. His boss item sucks, but hey, he can draw some aggro off you. Mithrix. Mithrix is easy A tier. Top of A tier. He's not Gup tier. Honestly, he might be Gup tier. I'm doing it. He's in there. Boom. I'm not changing it. He's Gup tier. Period. End of story. Mithrix is the best part of the game, in my opinion. I love the Mithrix fight so much. Every time I go to Mithrix, I have a good time. I either have so much damage that I obliterate him instantly, and that's really fun because it's the end of the run. So I'm like, yes, that was a good run. If you have an average fight, it's still a fun fight because you get to learn all the attack patterns. You get to dodge them and do everything. And if you have a terrible fight, you go to Mithrix, you don't have to worry about the stupid chimeras below you anymore. That's the worst part. When you have a terrible run, you go to the moon stage, you're like, my gosh, I wish I had a vase. I wish I had a chrysalis. I wish I had an egg. Now I have to charge all the pillars. Now I have to do all this crap. Then you get to Mithrix, you're like, Mithrix, my good friend. Every time I get to Mithrix, like, it's like he's my old friend, right? Like, hey, Mithrix, how you doing, bro? Hey, Mithrix, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm almost at the end of the video, YouTube. I apologize. Again, I'm not really sorry. Mithrix is amazing. I love the Mithrix fight so much. Voidling, F tier, end of story, period. This fight sucks. I'm sorry. I don't mean any malice towards the developers, but Voidling fight compared to Mithrix? Like, are you kidding me? You can't compare the two. They are in completely different leagues, as you can see. Polar opposites on the tier list. Like, there's no, like, it's not even a question of difficulty at all. It's not a fun fight. It's not interactive. All you do is stand behind a wall. Right? If you have giga damage, yeah, you can go out in the middle and just, but you're going to do that regardless, right? You're going to do that on Mithrix as well. But this fight, the correct way to play this fight is to stand behind terrain and just wait. Just wait for a window of opportunity. And then you go in, you DPS, you stand back behind the wall. Okay, I might be being a little too harsh here. It's not like a complete trash fight, but Compared to Mithrix, no contest. And I just don't like the Voidling fight. I mean, okay, is it F tier though? No. Okay, so the scale of the fight is excellent. Okay, when you go into that stage, the Voidling stage, and you freaking spawns out of the portal for the first time, and it's like 20 stories tall. That's cool. That's really cool. The teleport animation, everything but the actual damaging portion of the fight, right? When you're actually in combat. Everything but that is actually really cool. So it's definitely not F tier. I'm sorry. That was a knee-jerk reaction. It's not F tier. But is it D tier? Or is it C tier? Because ultimately, once you learn the fight, it's not a big deal. It's really not a big deal whatsoever. You just stand behind a wall, you wait for your window of opportunity, you just attack it, move behind the wall, attack it, move behind the wall, rinse and repeat. It's really tanky. Also, the Voidling has more HP than the entire Mithrix fight on the first phase. That's it. The Voidling has more HP than the entire Mithrix fight combined for the first phase of the Voidling. So you have to have a lot. You're going to be there forever. Honestly, if the HP was toned down a little bit and the homing projectiles were adjusted so you can actually dodge them, right? Because as it stands right now, if you're out in the open, the homing projectiles will find you and they will hit you. Period. You cannot dodge them unless you have like a giga amount of movement speed. You have to let them just collide into the terrain. And by terrain, I mean like vertical. So horizontal, like if you're standing behind like a fallen, there's a lot of horizontal terrain. Like by horizontal, I mean like a fallen slab, a stone slab or something. The projectiles will easily just come around that, hit you. Period. Even if it has a little bit of a lip that you can stand under, it's still gonna hit you. So you need like a straight up pillar in your face, or like a wall, for example. Like anyway, I'm talking about this too much. I would say C tier. I think that's the best place to put it. Is it better than the Mithrix fight? Heck no. End of story. Mithrix fight is so much more engaging on every level, and he's a cooler boss in my opinion too. I mean, he's the final boss. Come on. Voidling just like a little extra cake on top. I would like to see some things adjusted with the fight. It's not super interactive, but for the most part, it's still cool, right? It's still a cool fight. The scale of the fight as well. Change something, I would put Blind Pest in C tier. That's really the only thing, though. For the most part, I think it's just time this. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. All right, YouTube. Thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And you can check out my stream at twitch.tv/Woolie Gaming if you enjoyed kind of the vibe of this video.
Is for a little more. And you know what I'm not?
If you enjoyed the vibe, as they say. Okay.
I think I hit me right.
See you, YouTube. Thank you for watching. I'll see you. All right, we're done with YouTube.